People ask me, what do I actually do when I go on holiday? Well, as you can see, I like to go somewhere that's gorgeous and sunny with lots of palm trees around and that looks got blue sky and blue swimming pool or sea or whatever. I wake up early in the morning, have a cup of Earl Grey. Blue Mountain coffee. I bring my own Blue Mountain coffee and Earl Grey tea wherever I go and tend to brew it up in my room. I then go out to the swimming pool and swim 50 lengths in the morning. I find it unbelievably easy. It's a strange thing. I just do breaststroke, so it's very slow. I look like a maiden aunt, but it's incredibly relaxing, and I find that I can do 50 lengths as easy as anything. I then get out, have a shower, and start writing, doing stuff on the computer, linking to the internet, topping up any posts that may have come in on King of Hits that hasn't been put up by one of the other board keepers. Then get on with my writing. I'm writing another film script at the moment. Take a break at lunchtime, although I don't usually eat any lunch, but I usually do swim another 50 lengths because I enjoy that. Then I often stroll around looking at all the flowers and the shrubbery. This is a really beautiful hotel. I've stayed here for 40 years, believe it or not. It was a Hilton to start with, and it turned into a Hyatt Regency. It's a Hilton again now and is about to become a Sofitel, I believe. Then in the afternoon, I do some more writing. Late afternoon, I go out and get the British papers, which actually I've looked at in the morning, but then I buy the actual proper copies so you can see what one is actually reading. And then I read those, go through all of them, see if anything's going on in the world. And then basically have another 50 lengths, go out somewhere for dinner. There's an absolutely magnificent Japanese restaurant here that I go to quite a lot, but I eat dinner and come back, watch some television on my Sling box, which is attached to my computer here, so I can get all the British TV channels wherever I go, and then go to sleep. Wake up the next morning and do the same. It's very relaxing, fairly healthy, great fun. I enjoy it enormously. I love Morocco. I've always loved Morocco, but here's an example of why. Last year, as you know, my mum died, aged 91, and I got the news that she was not well when I was here because I spoke to her 2 or 3 times a day and decided I had to fly back urgently. So I flew back from a different airport, notified the car hire people that I was leaving the car at a different airport. They said, don't worry. I told them why. Anyway, as you know, then sadly she died and we had the funeral, and I came back to continue my holiday a few weeks later. I called up the car hire company, but before I was able to say, can I have another car please to hire, they said, how's your mother? Is she okay? And I said, no, sadly she's died. They were genuinely upset. I then get to the hotel, and the concierge, the moment I walk through the door, says, how is your mother? Is she okay? And I told him, and he was genuinely upset. Got into my room, and the maid, who was a maid on the other floor when I was here beforehand, and who had nothing to do with where I was then, came and knocked on the door. How is your mother? Now, that is the way Moroccans are, which I think is fantastic. I don't think you'd find that anywhere else in the world. Another example of it is this trip. Obviously, I hire a car, and I drove up to Tangier. And on the way, the mudguard came loose when I was doing 120 miles an hour on the motorway. And it was only a mudguard, cosmetic thing, so I wasn't too worried. But when I got to Tangier, I dropped into one of the new garages, local garages there, and said, could you just check on the tyre and the steering to make sure that when the mudguard came off, it hadn't affected anything? And they put it up and looked, and it took 10 minutes, looked and said, no, it's absolutely perfectly fine, no problem. So I said, well, many thanks. How much do I owe you? Oh, no. We're not going to charge you anything. They refused to take any money. Now, it reminded me 25 years ago when I was here in the Rolls Royce and the exhaust pipe dropped off somewhere. And again, I took it into a garage, and within an hour, they'd fixed it with bits of string and chewing gum and wire and things. And it drove perfectly for the whole of the rest of my holiday. But when I got back to England, I thought I'd better check it out. So what I did was I actually took it into my garage there, and they had a look at it, and they said, do you know what? This has been better mended than anybody here in Britain could do. And I think that's another thing that one tends to forget. Morocco has very much stopped being a third world country and is now a superb place to visit. I go to Marjan, which is the big supermarket chain here, and you see local Moroccans with the most enormous weekend baskets of food. Unfortunately, the costs have all gone up too. My room here, which used to be about £70 a night, literally in the last few months is now £93 a night. Now that's because of two things. One, the Moroccan economy is doing terribly well now and is beginning to prosper, and the country is getting really very prosperous. But secondly, of course, the pound is collapsing and is worth far less. So therefore, my £70 room 4 months ago at Christmas is £93. It's gone up £23 in 4 months. Can you believe that? Still, I enjoy my holidays here in Morocco. I love being here and would thoroughly recommend it to anybody else.